What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. Who will dethrone all the current champions? Gunther is back on top as being champions. We haven't done this video in a little bit. There is some different champions to talk about and who will ultimately become champion in the near future. But yes, we have a lot of champions to get through, a lot of talking. Some I've already talked about a lot, so maybe there's some different stuff that's we go a little bit faster, but let's get started with John Cena. I ultimately still think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think that's where they're going towards, but I gotta be honest, a new dark horse is Seth Rollins. Could we see a cash-in happening with Seth Rollins winning that title? I could possibly see it. I think more than likely, maybe they do go Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and then I just got really tired. Oh, sorry. John Cena losing the title, having more of a babyface run, or is it Seth Rollins winning the title and he has babyface run because of the title change of that? I think that's a big possibility, but again, we'll see on that one. Next to Tiffany Stratton, I'm going to do what I've been saying, where I think it is Jade Cargill going to be the one to take it from Tiffany Stratton. Now, here's the one thing, though, I have to say. I think a dark horse is Naomi, but I think it's Jade Cargill going to get dethroned and then Naomi cashes in. Now, that's what I'm kind of feeling. That's what I think is going to happen with Tiffany Stratton ultimately not getting the chance at this championship, and it is Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the title, with Naomi winning it at SummerSlam. So I think this is the route we go, but we'll talk about it maybe after SummerSlam if it actually does happen, or Evolution if Naomi cashes in. Up next is Solo Sikoa. This is very new, who I think is right now still Jacob Fatu. I think that's who I think most people would think. I think truthfully it makes more sense storyline wise to win it back off of Solo Sikoa, but we'll see. A dark horse for me is Jimmy Uso. I think Jimmy has been in the solo kind of, not shadow, but kind of the solo vortex where he's kind of stuck there. So I have to ultimately say Jimmy Uso could dethrone Solo Sikoa as well. Up next is Julia, who is the U.S. champion. There's a video coming out. I think it's already out when this video does come out. I think it's going to be Alexa Bliss. Now, here's why. I think when you look at Alexa Bliss and you look at how over she is as a babyface on SmackDown versus how much of a heel Julia is, it just makes more sense, and she does deserve a title reign, I think, here soon. And I think a mid-card title fits her. I just question if it's because of Charlotte Flair. It's not going to happen. I hope not. Dark horse for me is Asuka. These are the two that I feel pretty confident on. I think if Asuka would get moved to SmackDown, then she should go against Julia and win this U.S. title. She's been built as a big competitor, and winning this title would make a ton of sense for her, in my opinion. Up next, the Street Profits. It's probably going to be the Wyatt Six. I truthfully think it's going to be the Wyatt Six in a ladder match. Now, a big dark horse for me is Fraxium, where maybe they do have this, what is it called? This ladder match at SummerSlam, and ultimately Fraxium's the one to take it, not the Wyatt Six, which then leads to the Wyatt Six stealing it from Fraxium afterwards. But I still believe, in my opinion, it's Wyatt Six coming up here soon. I think, does it make sense to go Street Profits to Wyatt Six? Not really, but I believe to go from Fraxium to Wyatt Six could make a little sense. I don't think so, actually. I think more it makes sense for DIY, but well, that won't happen. Up next, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez is the official women's tag team champions. I think it is Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair that will win it off of them at Evolution, is what my guess is. I think they're going to be the team from SmackDown. With those two being the team from SmackDown, I really do believe Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez lose it there to further storylines with them with the women's tag team. I think that was the plan with Liv and Raquel going to lose that. My dark horse here is the Bella Twins. Maybe they come, but we haven't seen Nikki Bella in a little bit, and that's kind of weird since Evolution's about to show up. So I think they scrapped plans with Nikki Bella, which sucks in my opinion, but yeah, I think that sucks a lot. So wonder what's going to happen with her. Up next, we have Oba Femi as NXT champion. This isn't going to be lost for a little bit. I have still Javon Evans being the winner, but a dark horse that has been really big potential for me is Jasper Troy. I think Jasper Troy has shown that potential to be a big, and I mean big star for WWE NXT, and I think he has the size. It just needs a voice, and I think, in my opinion, Jasper Troy going against Obafemi is a big challenge. We saw it, and I think it is a potential to win against Obafemi. Now, does he get the rub and win it later on? I don't know, but I think for now, Javon Evans and Obafemi, or Javon Evans and Jasper Troy, are the ones that I would pick. Up next is JC Jane. I think it will be Jordynne Grace. I know she was my dark horse for a little bit, and I said she would be my dark horse because I didn't know, truthfully, if she would win, if she would stay on NXT. My dark horse is, or what was I just saying? No, yeah, my dark horse was Jordynne Grace. Now my dark horse, Mariah May. I could see a storyline where Jordynne Grace wins, then Mariah May maybe go after the title. That's what I'm kind of thinking. I don't think it will be JC Jane to Blake Monroe, but we'll see. To me, right now, I really do believe that it should be Jordynne Grace winning it to Blake Monroe. That's what I would say. Up next is Ethan Page. I think it's going to be Javon Evans, but my dark horse is Miles Bourne. Now, I know Ricky Saints is having this whole thing with him. I don't think he's going to lose to Ricky Saints, truthfully. I think Javon Evans will ultimately win it at some point because, in my opinion, he needs to win some gold here soon. And I think Miles Bourne's as a singles run is looking great. And I would have Miles Bourne win this title off Ethan Page. They've already kind of done it. Ethan Page is the heel. Miles Bourne is a really good babyface. To me, match made in heaven, in my opinion, on where they could go with this. Up next is Sol Ruca. Still think it's going to be Zarya. I don't think that's a crazy call. Maybe Izzy Dame is a good dark horse. I think Jada Parker should be in the mix coming up here soon. I think they're just holding off on her so that they could give her this title run when it actually happens. But Izzy Dame isn't a bad shout at all. I think what she's doing with the calling could be a big push for her. And ultimately, Zarya and Sol Ruca will have a feud. I don't know when. Maybe it is WrestleMania next year. But I would book that Sol Ruca loses it to Zarya because I think that's the better way we would go about this. Up next is Hank and Tank. Kind of nothing's been happening with the tag titles. I think it is going to be dark slate. I think a dark state. I think it just makes sense for a dark evil team to go for the baby faces. That's why the calling is a good one as well. But these are the two, and I don't really see anyone else really winning off them, truthfully. I think it's these, and that's really it. I don't think that there is anything else going to happen and going to be or anything else will make a little bit more sense. I think these are the two that make the most sense that should go after and win the tag titles. Next is Gunther. So now at the Raw side of things, Gunther is finally the champion again. I guess it was a plan by WWE all along, supposedly. Who do I think is going to dethrone Gunther right now? It's going to be CM Punk. And I've kind of decided on how I think I'm going to go about this. I don't know. I hate that I'm yawning. I don't know how they're going to go about this run. Because originally I thought Sami Zayn would be the one. I think they won't do that. I think Sami might dethrone Seth Rollins instead. I really believe the route they're going to go is Seth Rollins teasing that he's going to, cash in on Gunther. Ultimately, Punk, after that kind of Raw moment, is going to go against Gunther at SummerSlam. So then you have Punk and Gunther going against each other, which was a big match that people wanted. And then you have Punk winning it finally, and then Seth Rollins cash in. And it's almost a story told countless times of poetry and how it rhymes where, stuff happens to you that happened in the past with CM Punk interfering to make Damian Priest cash in on Drew McIntyre. Now it's Seth Rollins interfering to make CM Punk lose the title. I would like it. I also have just Seth Rollins here. Maybe Gunther's about to retain and it turns into a triple threat and Seth Rollins wins the title. I don't know. That's another way, but Seth Rollins is dangerous with this Money in the Bank, so he's on both the dark horses. Up next is Io Sky. Now, the women's division on Io Sky, and this title has not been booked well. And I think it's because they're just waiting for the inevitable object to steal it from Io Sky, which is Rhea Ripley. I do expect Rhea Ripley to maybe win this at Evolution, and then SummerSlam have something, or something happens and it turns into a triple threat where ultimately Rhea Ripley, Io Sky will have a triple threat at Mania or at SummerSlam, which would be just like Mania, but I think it would be a good story still if it's somebody like Bianca Belair still doesn't want Rhea Ripley to win. I don't know. I think ultimately, though, it is Rhea and Io Sky likely going at it at Evolution and Rhea winning. My dark horse is Stephanie Vaquer. Now, I truthfully thought that this would be the SummerSlam match of Io Sky and Vaquer, but now with Rhea Ripley, maybe this is the triple threat instead, which I think is destined for maybe a night one main event potential, depending on Punk and Gunther, if that's a match. Yeah, I don't know. I really do believe that in my head and in my thoughts, this is one of these two are the two. Maybe Asuka, but that's what in my head, that's who I think it's going to be. Next is Dominic Mysterio. I think it's still Finn Balor, but I dark horse that was who I think was AJ Styles. Now, here's why. I think before Finn Balor would have, I kind of want to switch this now, even thinking about this. I think Finn Balor, if, the Judgment Day, if he didn't win the tag titles, he would go after this IC title. Because in my opinion, which I feel like was a last second throw, just truthfully a throw. In my opinion, I could see a route where for a SummerSlam match, it's Finn, Dom, AJ. And Finn saves the match and wins the match by pinning Dominic Mysterio. If that's the case, then they can have the same storyline where it's like, well, I pinned it to keep it in the Judgment Day, so you did the same thing. You can't be mad at me. I thought that would be the case, but now with this tag titles, it's been kind of confusing. Maybe it is ultimately AJ Styles, and AJ Styles is going to win at Night of Champions. Let's be honest here. That's probably what's going to happen. Next is Becky Lynch. I think it's going to be Bayley, Dark Horse Lyra, Dark Horse Stephanie Vaquer even. I think Bayley makes a lot of sense winning this, and I think they could go to a route with Lynch and Lyra having a Hell in a Cell or a street fight match at SummerSlam while Bayley defends it against someone else like Roxanne Perez and continuing that feud. That's kind of what I've been dreaming about and what I think could happen, so that's why I'm going to go with that. So in a switch and wild turn of events, the Judgment Day has won the tag titles. I'm going with who I think. I'm first going to say the Dark Horse, truthfully. Don't really see. I kind of just see this happening, and I feel like it's going to happen sooner rather than later. That's Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I think that could be the SummerSlam match because I think it's a big enough match to have for SummerSlam. I think they need to put the tag titles on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I mean, they had a mashup of music, which means they're going to have them as a tag team coming up here soon. Maybe they originally were going to have the New Day win it. I don't know. I just think that, to me, makes more sense for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to win these tag titles sooner rather than later to really drip this faction in gold. And then you have these two with their mashup music. Like, that mashup music had to be a hint, right? That they're going to be tag team champions or be more in tag teams. To me, this just makes sense to have this on their resume that they were tag team champs in this faction. And I think it just works out well and really just creates that this division is run by this new faction. Dark Horse Mercy Machine Guns, don't really see it happening. I kind of think the Lucha Bros could make a lot of sense, but there's no one that I would put down right now for Judgment Day to lose to. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.